Hey guys, welcome to Flow Space. Whether you're listening for the first time or you're already familiar with us, our purpose is to create more connection and understanding through open and vulnerable conversations. Today we're doing things a little
Little bit
differently.
differently, yeah. Because we had a plan to talk about something else,
It didn't feel
but
right.
it just didn't feel super aligned. So last minute, we kind of switched it up, and we just decided that we just kind of want to talk about where our minds have been at, have a little therapy session.
Yeah. So, still Flow Space, but kind of introducing something that we're going to be doing soon
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
same time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. Do you want to kind of touch on what you've been feeling lately?
Yeah, I would say lately things have been a little bit rough for me mentally. I've been feeling like I wouldn't go so far as to say I've been feeling depressed, but like maybe some of the symptoms have been showing up. I used to really struggle bad with depression, and lately I've just been feeling like I kind of went through this long period of time of just really all summer just channeling so much information and really just receiving a lot of visions, receiving a lot of just knowledge. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like just divine knowledge, and just it was like I was being shown the path to take, and it's been hard for me to kind of get out of that thinking and in my mind and that state. It's been
Yeah.
hard for me to take that all of that knowledge and kind of apply it to where I am now, which is I know now I'm meant to be doing. And it just
And
kind of,
you're in the transition of like,
yeah,
I'm
just
absorbing, but I need to be doing at the same time.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard. I was talking to my friend the other day. We did a little microdose at the park, and I was talking to him just about how I've been feeling. And he was just saying that he's like been through that before, where just going through such a long period of time of just thinking so many things and just feeling like you're just in your mind so much, and then taking that into the real world and applying it is kind of a difficult transition, because it's like thinking about everything and then moving into just doing and not thinking so much about what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
is really difficult. So I feel like I've kind of been talking myself out of a lot of things.
Like what?
Like, I don't know, it's literally just as simple as like talking myself out of getting up earlier, talking myself
Mm.
out of,
Like making excuses.
yeah, just making excuses for myself, or getting too into the why is this so difficult for me, instead of just having the idea to do something and then doing it. It's like my mind is still in the thinking phase, or I'm trying to think through like, why is this so hard for me? Why? Rather than just do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel like it's a balance of both though, because I feel like all the time you should be thinking about why, like what's the reasoning behind everything that you're doing, you know? Whether and it's
Yes.
also difficult too because of being freelance and not having that consistency of clocking in, clocking out. And so
Yeah.
there's just so many different aspects because it's has to do with work, but then it also has to do with self, like you were saying, routine, waking up in the morning, following the routine that you set for yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard because then you're accountable and then if you mess up one day, it's hard to give yourself that grace of, oh, I messed up this one day. So now the rest of my week is messed up when the next, you can still change it. Let's say you woke up 2 hours later than you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of adjust your day so then you can still do what you're wanting to do. You might not do it as long as you wanted to do it, but that's okay too. And I think just
Yeah.
always allowing yourself grace through everything because, I mean, you don't need to be stressed out. But
Yeah.
it is stressful at the same time. Like, I feel that. I think both of us have been really stressed out with a lot of different things and a lot of the same things too. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are feeling like that
Yeah.
all the time. And so I think it's this constant state of wanting structure
Yeah.
and building structure for yourself can be challenging, And I think that
Absolutely.
it's just a learning process.
It is, yeah, because I think, you get so used to being accountable to like your boss, then when
Mm-hmm.
you're accountable to yourself, it's difficult to get lost, to not get lost. I think I've just been struggling to really find what works best for me as far as like routine goes and planning things, because I feel like at a certain point in my life I was like too structured and too
Yeah.
planny, and then it was hard not to get mad at myself when I couldn't show up for all these things that I overscheduled for myself. So then I was like, now I just need to be in complete flow state. And then being in complete flow state was just like I felt like I was just too loosey goosey. Like I wasn't really
You didn't have the balance.
I didn't have the balance. I didn't have enough productivity happening. So now I'm just trying to find what's that balance for myself of really treating my own projects like a job, like a job that I would be clocking into, you know, and really creating that schedule for me, but maybe just making it more realistic and really being accountable to myself. Because I think sometimes what happens is like, you know, if I get motivation and then I run off that motivation, then I'm getting into this
burnt
flow.
out.
Yeah, well, it's like I'm getting into this flow, and then if things don't work out, then it's easy for me to burn out because I'm like, I don't trust myself to show up again the next day. So I'm like, if in that moment, everything, like, say I'm editing, right? And then the technology isn't working with me and I'm struggling with that. Instead of just taking a breath and being like, well, I can go do something else and handle this tomorrow, I've put so much pressure on that moment.
Getting it right now.
Yeah.
It needs to be done.
And that comes from a place of not trusting myself to get it done the next day.
Yeah.
So I think it's just right now I'm building a new relationship with myself where there is accountability. And that's why, like, sometimes I think I used to have no grace for myself. Like, I was always shaming myself for everything. And then I started having a little bit too much grace for myself. And now I'm like, how do I balance that out? So it's just a process, but it's been feeling very difficult lately. And that's where like the thinking too much comes in, because like you said, it is a balance. It is important to be thinking about why you're doing things and having intention behind things, but then there comes to a certain point where if I'm thinking too much about why is this so hard for me to get done and blah 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 blah, it's like I already know those things. We've talked about so much, like how much fear plays a role, and at a certain point it's like I need to get out of that thinking about the fear and just start doing it, because that's the way to get out of it. You know, if they're like, if you're afraid of heights, jump out of a fucking plane, you won't be afraid of heights anymore. And that's like, that's where I'm at right now, is like, okay, I know I've identified the problems.
That's so important. Like, once you can identify it, but then you actually have to act on changing your mindset throughout everything. And I feel like again, it's just a time factor, because you need to allow yourself time, but also knowing when the like time limit is. Like, everything is just a fucking balance for real.
Everything is.
And it's just so I think when there's so many different factors involved, like, oh, I need to be putting time and energy into my friends and my family and my work, all of my different work, because it's like we have so many different things that we're doing. And so just dedicating that time again, like 6 to 7 o'clock is this, and 5 to 4 or 5 to 4 5 to 4 a.m.
That's quite the jump.
That's quite the hours.
That's how you be self-made, yo. 5 to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Don't do that. You need to rest. And rest.
Yes.
Like, allowing yourself rest. I feel like, you know, a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I've had 2 hours of sleep every single night. And then I finally got sleep, and I slept for like 12 hours one day.
Yeah.
Relief.
And it's like, that's just a perfect display of, you know, making that, it's like when you have two polars, kind of bringing that into the middle and just making that more of an everyday thing, so that it doesn't have to be so drastic, like 2 hours versus 12 hours. You know, like, that's kind of where I feel like I've been at in so many ways. Like, I feel like I kind of do this in life in general, where I'm always going from one polar to the other, and then I'm like, neither of these are working, and then I have to figure out the balance.
Yeah, you have to find that's why people work like 8-hour shifts, because it's a long shift, but it's not. Even 12-hour shifts, like, I don't know, 12-hour shifts are way too long.
Yeah.
It's just a work-life balance, and no matter what your job is and whatever career path, it's just making sure that you're happy at the end of the day. And if something's too stressful for you, allowing yourself to take a step back, even if it's just for 5 minutes, like, go outside, just breathe a little bit and then come back in, go eat something, go drink some water, like literally do anything to just get your mind off of this one moment. Because the more I think that you try to keep working on this one thing, the more overwhelmed, and then you get frustrated, and then you have all these emotions built up, just like in a relationship too, it's like
I spiral.
Yeah, you just spiral, and then you start feeling like you're going crazy.
Exactly.
It's just, so I don't know, I'm proud of you, and
Thank
I know
you.
that it's really hard to have that time to figure things out, but once you get that schedule down of how you want your life to be, because you get to figure out, you get to decide how the structure of your life is, and everything that you want, you decide at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so even with routines too, it's just, again, like we talked about, doing that first step.
Yeah.
You just need to start one day, but then allow that flexibility, especially in the beginning, like working out or anything. You say you want to go 5 days a week, or you want to go every single day. If you can do that, cool. But also knowing yourself and knowing your body, is this going to drain me? Am I going to do it for 4 days consistently and then stop? Because I feel like that's what I do. I like go in waves. I'll like work out so many days in a row, or like have a morning routine so many days in a row, and then I maybe have something going on, and then I don't end up doing it the next day because I missed that one day.
And then you kind of just don't, and then you just kind of are like mad at yourself for not doing it that day, and then it kind of takes away from your progress. So I think that's another thing, is just not letting a mistake take away from your progress. Because like yesterday I had such a good day, I was like, today I'm gonna have another good day, I'm gonna wake up early, and then fucking the dog shit everywhere. And that's how I woke up.
Funny, I'm sorry. So, I mean, it's like
it is kind of funny, but the dog, I'm taking care of shit everywhere, and that's how I woke up today. So I felt like
that decided how your day was gonna go.
Yeah, it was like, dang, why can't it just be easy like it was yesterday? But I'm not gonna let that, old me would have let that continue into tomorrow, but I'm not gonna let that continue into tomorrow. I'm gonna show up again tomorrow and try again, and just, I think just that's where the grace comes in, the balance of the grace comes in for myself. Is just like, if existential circumstances come in, or if whatever happens, like even if I let myself down, just not letting that make me believe that I'm not gonna be able to fix it the next day, or I'm not gonna be able to do better the next day.
Because you are.
Yeah, I definitely am. And I think when you were talking, I was thinking another thing as well, just about like when you were saying, if something is getting too stressful, just go for a walk, or just go, I think building in little breaks for myself as well, or just like when I'm feeling overwhelmed, and filling that break time with something that really feeds me or really allows me to release. Because I think I touched on a little bit last week when we were talking with Kate, just about how I know right now I'm way too addicted to like my phone and entertainment, because it's such a distraction for me. Like I could really binge anime for days and not give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like I used to. I feel like right now I'm not even on my phone that much.
Yeah, I mean, you're so busy, but I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out my fucking schedule right now. So I think it's easy for me to
just
like
go and grab it, or go and watch something.
And then the time flies. Like, I get on TikTok, I'm like, I'm gonna watch a couple of videos, and then it's like an hour later, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, oh my God, and then it feels like I don't have enough time to get everything done. So I think really just setting goals for myself of maybe like, okay, I'm only gonna like watch TV like around dinner time after I've gotten a bunch of stuff done, or I'm not gonna be on TikTok all week, I'm gonna leave that for the weekend. Like I think for me, I need to have those types of goals for myself to kind of, it's like treating it like a real addiction. And just really like cutting back on how much I'm doing that. And I think
consumption is hard.
Yeah, consumption is really hard because it's an easy distraction for me, and I think that that's getting my mind off of it, but really it's not letting me release. It's just distracting me. So like yesterday when I had a really good day, I was doing so much stuff yesterday. I set realistic goals for myself. I wasn't going to be mad at myself if I didn't finish the whole to-do list. I set that intention in the morning. And then throughout the day when I was getting a lot of things done, instead of just going back to back to back, like getting things done, I was like, okay, right now I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, or I've just been doing a lot, so I'm going to have a little dance break. And then I just had a little dance break, and I was like, I'm just going to put on some music and dance right now. So just thinking of things that actually help me to release what's going on and actually help me to distract my mind, but in a good way.
Like
it's
in
not
a productive way.
In a productive way, in a way that's like really feeding me rather than just taking me away from whatever I'm thinking about and getting me into this hole. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's even the same thing with social media or watching something.
Yeah.
I think that you can always, consumption is something that you can use in two different ways, as a distraction or also as an educational purpose,
Totally.
So you can go on whatever social app you want, and instead of consuming something that will just pass right by you, I feel like you can have an intention behind it,
Totally.
and go in something that you're wanting to learn or something you want to get more familiar with. You can research that and consume it, but you're consuming all this knowledge and like for something that you're going to use.
Right.
And I think that also when you're doing that and applying to something that you're passionate about, it won't necessarily feel like work,
Right.
or like this education of, I'm watching this right now. Like, I want to watch it, but I also don't. I just want to distract myself. I think it's just changing your perspective on that, because I try to do that. Even I remember a while ago when I was on LinkedIn and I was looking for jobs and stuff, and then I started treating the app like a social media app. Right. And so I would set my notifications for jobs that I was wanting, and every time a job popped up, I would go and I would research it, and it was fun. I was still consuming something, but it was for my benefit at the end of the day. Even if I didn't get the job, it was still expanding my knowledge in certain ways, and seeing what other people are doing, but in a educational way. Does that make sense at all?
Definitely. I think that that's definitely like a part of the balance, for sure, of like, what am I like, am I going on social media to learn something? And then it's like, for social media, like the balance of learning and then supporting your friends and then entertainment. Distraction doesn't need to be anywhere in there. Like it can easily turn from entertainment to distraction when it becomes too much. And so that's why I think, like, at least for now, I really need to have better boundaries with myself. Like, really just telling myself, okay, like, I'm only gonna I'm gonna catch up on all of my favorite YouTubers on the weekend, you know what I'm saying? And then it dedicating can really time. Dedicating time to it, so it can really just be entertainment, rather than I'm trying to distract myself from this moment or what I have to do right now. And then part of that is also like just being aware of the time, like telling myself, okay,
look at the clock.
Look at the clock. Don't just like keep scrolling and not pay attention to what time it is, and just letting myself know, like, all right, you can scroll through TikTok until 1 p.m. and then it's time to
even at night off. Too. I feel like that used to be my big problem, was at nighttime before I went to bed, and I would just go on TikTok or go on whatever, Instagram, well, yada yada yada, and I look at the clock and it was 3 a.m. Like, what am I doing? Like, I need to be up soon. But also, this was the time where I like would sleep in really late, and I feel like now I've restructured my entire day, and I've been waking up early, and that's been something always. It was, oh my god, so hard all the time. I would wake up at 11 or 12, like so late, and now I've been waking up at 6:30, 7, and I feel good. Like, the latest I feel like I'll stay in bed is like 8 o'clock. And that is just, anyone that knows me like knows that is not a thing that has ever happened before. And I don't know what it is. I'm proud of you for that.
That's really good.
I'm proud of myself too, and I think acknowledging your achievements, however big or small they are, and
because that's always been hard for you. And that's always been hard for me too, and lately it's been easier. I think the one thing that's really helped me, like, if you struggle with waking up early, one thing that's really been helping me personally because it's easy for me. Like I used to not be this way, but now I will literally fall back asleep. Like if I
Yeah.
accidentally click my alarm off instead of snooze, I'm out. Like I'm gone. I'm back to sleep. You cannot wake me back up. So,
You're an interesting morning one though.
oh yeah, and I definitely like.
You don't know what's going on.
I really am. I don't know what's going on because I will literally be a zombie. Like, and I cannot be conscious. So I will literally not be like fully awake snoozing my alarm. Like, I will actually be like half asleep snoozing my alarm. So that's why for me personally, I have two alarms. I have my actual alarm clock,
Yeah, so you have
and
to
then
get
I
out of
have my
bed.
phone. So yeah, I have to get up to turn my alarm off, but then sometimes that's not enough because I could still be a zombie standing up. Like I could literally still
You put your phone
be
in another
asleep,
room.
and then I put my phone. Yep, I put my phone in the living room, knowing that it's gonna get real annoying for my neighbors if I don't go shut that shit off.
But it's always someone else. I think that's the thing, not just with you or with me, but with a lot of people of is it going to affect someone else? And if it's going to affect someone else, I feel more accountable to, or I
Yeah,
feel like I need to hold myself more accountable to do this for someone else when you need to get that out of here.
yeah.
Like you need to be doing it for yourself. And so I think with everything that we've just talked about, it's just,
It definitely is for myself, but I think at least for now, training myself to get up early, that
mm-hmm.
is like helpful. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Just
but
because I feel obligated to get up and go. And then it's like I've also decided the first thing I'm doing is making my bed. And instead of like doing my breath work in bed, I've been doing it
good.
in the living room so that I actually have to get up and start my day. I'm like, I have a comfortable couch. I just get up and do that. Let me
Mm-hmm.
check the camera. Oh, we're so good. Period.
Period.
So yeah, it's just been a process. I think things are getting better, and I can't expect everything to be perfect overnight or to figure out the entire schedule like in the timeline that I want. I think that is kind of frustrating for me sometimes when I know what I need to do and it's not done yet. And I know exactly how it needs to be, but it's not done yet. Because that's the space that I'm in. Like, I used to be confused. I'm like, what the fuck do I even
Yeah.
do?
And now you know what to
And
do.
now I know what to
I feel
do.
that.
So just being okay with implementing that in slower steps. And that's the problem with, being intuitive sometimes. It's not like it's a problem, but it's just the struggle with being intuitive sometimes is that you will receive a lot of divine knowledge and you will get the vision. You will get the whole outlook, the whole layout.
Mm-hmm.
And then not having it already done can be difficult. So it's kind of like, when you have ADHD, which we both have ADHD.
I don't know if I do, but I feel like I do. I don't know.
I thought that you did,
No.
but I mean maybe
You
probably.
keep saying it though, and I'm like, I'll just roll with it. I have
My
no
bad.
idea.
I'm so sorry. I thought you said that.
No.
But yeah, the problem with having ADHD is like, and if you have ADHD, for example, when I was in high school, everything was fine when I was getting a couple assignments a day.
Mm-hmm.
I was good. I was like 1, 2, 3, boom. But when there came a day where all of my teachers decided to assign something, and all of a sudden I had like 10 things to do, the most difficult part was me just sitting there looking at everything that I needed to do, and I could not fucking figure out for the life of me where to start.
That is hard, I think, for a lot. It's hard for me, but I don't know if I have ADHD.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think that's when organization comes into play, because when you can organize certain thing of just start with something.
Exactly.
Like you don't need
that's
to
what
pick
it is.
what you need to like. I think that priorities, knowing what is top priority, and if you can't decide between 2 or 3 things, just do one of them.
Matter.
They're
just
clearly all a priority.
Yeah.
So you need to do all of them. So just do one of them right now.
Right.
And I think that again, it's just structure, organization, but also allowing yourself to just chill a little bit.
It's a balance. I think balance usually ends up coming in threes, because it's like a pyramid. It's got to stand up, So it's kind of, there's always like 3 aspects to everything, and yeah, that's just important. So I think yeah, just picking a place to start and just not being so overwhelmed by this whole big picture of like, oh my God, I have to get all these things done. Just literally making it simple for myself and putting it into steps and being okay with things moving at the pace that it needs to move.
Yeah.
That's just something that's very important for me right now. So I think that's just a good reminder for me, is something hopefully you can remind me of it now. You know
Girl, I
that that's
got
a
you.
struggle for me, and that I can remind myself of through watching this video, you know.
Yeah. Hold yourself accountable by watching
Exactly.
yourself say it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you already know, but I feel you. It's so hard structuring when you know exactly what you need to accomplish. Like, you know, all the, for me right now, it's wanting to transition career wise and having all the things that I know that I can do in order to make an income and all of that. But because there's so many different areas, sometimes it feels really overwhelming. And also, I feel like I'll be in a space where I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine. I'll do this and this and this and this, and it's going to make me this much money. And then, like, it just, I don't trust myself.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, wait, what did I want to do? Like, I'll forget it.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of change my perspective and tell myself that's not possible. But that's not even me talking. So
right.
you even say this, like figuring out whose voice it is.
Right.
Because
What's
it's not
mine?
mine.
No.
Well, yeah, like my voice is telling me all of the good things, and then it's like all these other people's voices saying all these negative things, and I'm like, get out of here.
Exactly.
You're not welcome in my brain.
Exactly. You're not welcome
nice.
here. Here we thrive.
Yeah.
Like,
here we thrive. We are the best.
Exactly.
But yeah, I just feel like knowing yourself and knowing when to, I don't know, acknowledge yourself, acknowledge. I don't know why I always say acknowledge. That's not how it's spelled.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge.
I feel like nobody really says acknowledge.
I know, but then I always see people saying, you always say this wrong. Like, I don't even want to say it because now everyone will think, like, see it and then only hear that. But I'll tell you later.
Okay.
There are certain words that I'll say that don't even sound like the word that it is. And I've had to teach myself how to say it properly.
That's so
One
funny.
of them is room. Like, I have to say
room. I remember
would say rum.
in high school.
Like R-U-M.
Oh my God.
I'd say my bedroom.
My bedroom.
But now I said my bedroom.
I mean, but at the end of the day, like, it's not really a big deal. Like, we all come from different places, and our parents say things differently. You know what I'm saying? Like, people used to always make fun of me for how I talked, like, my whole life. Like, there's been so many words that I've altered how I say it. And I kind of wish that I didn't, you know, because it felt like that was more part of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't remember so many of the things that I used to get made fun of, but I swear to God, I was anyways.
We got cut off.
Yeah, we got cut off. I don't know why the camera turned off, but it did. But
to-do list.
To-do list. Yeah, I was saying, referencing Belle talking about sometimes just having so many ideas, and at a certain point it will be clear, but then it's like you lose it. So I was just talking about how something that I've been doing lately that has been working for me is whenever I have an idea, I just have in my notes app a big, long to-do list that whenever I think of something, any idea, whether it's an idea for YouTube, an idea for music, just something I'm going to get done, like, you know, cleaning my floors, like literally anything, I just put it on this big, long to-do list, and then I have a little custom blank widget. What was that?
I don't know.
That was a weird noise. Anyways, but I just have this custom blank widget that the night before the next day, depending on what I got done that day, I'll just make a list of like, this is what I want to do tomorrow, pull from that to-do list and see what feels right for me to do the next day. Because yeah, I definitely used to like plan out my whole week, and that didn't work, because then it's like, you know, if you don't get something done, then everything just kind of gets jumbled. So I think,
like, how do I restructure it?
Right. So that's been working well for me, is just kind of planning it out the the day before and just making that big long to-do list, because it's like throughout the day I have so many ideas, throughout the night, just anytime I'm always just having ideas. So just knowing that I can go put it in that place, and it can be like a whole long paragraph of this well thought out idea that I had, and it's on this to-do list, so I know at some point I'm going to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of what day it feels right to do it. And so that's been really helpful, because I'm veering away from writing things down in a planner, just because I do like writing things down physically, but I think there are certain things that it's good to write down physically, like journaling, manifestations, things like that is good to have on physical paper.
Mm-hmm.
But
There's certain times that you're in the car, like you were saying,
right,
and all
in the
that.
car, the grocery store, like wherever I'm at, I don't always have my planner. So just knowing that at any time I can put it on this to-do list, that's been really helpful for me, because yeah, just having a whole stream of consciousness, stream of thoughts, everything's gonna come and go. So if there's something that feels really valuable, I'm gonna write that down so I don't lose it, because who knows when it's gonna come back.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, even like writing it down in the morning too, implicating, I always say implicating,
Implicating.
implementing, implementing it into your morning routine of
Yeah.
when you're journaling and when you're doing all of that, because then you use that and then you can write it down so you have it in physical form. But throughout the day, you go and you write it down on your phone, in your notes app, whatever.
Totally.
And then, because even when you're going to bed, you're going to have thoughts, you know?
Yep.
So after you already have it written down, you're going to be like, I have more thoughts, more thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's different. So whatever, I think just finding what works for you,
Yeah.
sticking with that, adjusting it, because it could change and maybe it works for a while and then it doesn't work. And so you have to just restructure it.
Totally.
That's totally okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love that though. I
Yeah.
think that that's something that was really stressing me out, was on Sunday planning the whole week out.
Yeah.
And then like we miss one day of doing something, or I miss one day of doing something, I start getting all in my head about it. Oh, I didn't do this. When am I gonna
and then
do
it
it?
feels
Now
like
I
the
don't
whole
have
week
any
is fucked.
time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think just taking everything day by day instead of like week by week,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know what you're gonna do tomorrow.
No.
What if someone's like, let's go to Fiji?
Right.
I'm gonna go to fucking Fiji.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. So the day before, the morning of,
Yeah,
is just so much better. I've learned now that that works way better for me,
mm-hmm.
rather than just putting together this whole plan and then being disappointed if it doesn't work out. And then I think I touched a little bit on, like if I get so disappointed in the fact that I didn't get the thing done that I wanted to get done, that's what makes me feel like I can't trust myself to get it done the next day.
Stressed out.
Because I associate that task with me not getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
I associate that task with shame. I associate that task with negative emotions. So me being avoidant, I'm going to avoid it the next day.
And then you don't feel productive, because this, for the one task, you didn't feel like you were capable of even doing it.
Totally. So yeah, just checking myself in the moment and being like, it's okay to breathe. It's okay to move this to another time because it's not working out right now.
Yeah.
That allows so much more grace for myself. So that's the balance of having grace for myself, is like having a structure and having a time, but not being mad at myself if I didn't get it done, so that I can be malleable and move things around.
Like having the structure in the morning and at night, and allowing your day to do the tasks that you're needing to do. And even you were saying with like morning routine and stuff, I think that there are going to be times where, you don't necessarily do the full morning routine, and that's okay. I think trying to always hold yourself accountable to do as much of it as you can. But I mean, having those like 3 things that you're like, I need to do these 3 things, and obviously trying to make time for maybe 2 or 3 other things in the morning. But if you don't do it immediately as soon as you wake up, because I know that's something that we've been trying to do, is as soon as you wake up, we do this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this, and then we're like, oh my god, my whole morning I just did so many things. It's amazing and it feels so good. But yeah, I think just structuring it, like definitely meditating in the morning, journaling, planning your day out, whether you want to do it at night or in the morning, whatever it is. But just setting your intentions. And another thing that I really want to talk about was like I don't know what creator it was, but writing a love letter to money, to yourself, and just saying, like, if it was a relationship, because everything is a relationship at the end of the day, and saying, hey hey money, hey honey
Hey
money,
girly girl.
hey girly girl, I'm so sorry for how I abused you and used you, and thank you for giving me the opportunities to live here and do this, and just every person so different, and so just making this love letter. I think it's so cool, and I think we should do that. And I think whoever's watching, if you haven't already heard of it, definitely try it out. We haven't done it yet, but we're going to.
Definitely am going
To
to
your
do that.
body
To your
too,
body.
because we all have
Yes.
different bodies and different areas that we love about our bodies, or maybe areas that we haven't loved in the past. And so writing a love letter to your body and saying like, I love your eyes, I love your smile so much, like thank you for, you know, for me, like thank you for my heart, and thank you for my mind and my hands so I can paint and draw and
Yes.
do all the things that I do, and my feet and my legs and my everything. Yeah.
And it just creates the space to show up better, because it's just like any relationship, you know, when you have some tension, like with a friend or with a family member, with anybody, you know, when you feel that tension and then you're able to have a moment of reconciliation where you're able to understand each other and you're able to apologize for what you did, and you're able to hear the apology for, you know, what they did or whatever, or just be honest about how they've made you feel, then there's all of a sudden all this space for love, and then only love and understanding are there rather than that tension. And that's really just one of the best feelings in life in general. So I think just applying that same thing to these relationships that maybe we have abused, like my relationship with my body, my relationship with money, it just will create space to show up differently, and to make better commitments, and to just invite love into that space. So yeah, I'm really excited to do that. And yeah,
me too.
Love it. I love it. And yeah, I appreciate you and everything that we learn from each other, and that everything that I learned from you that I can apply to my life. And yeah, it's just
good shit.
It's just good shit. It really is. So yeah, I think that kind of sums up what we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you next week. We post a video every Friday. We post a new podcast episode as well. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on
all socials.
We have short form content where we interview different creatives around the city. So yeah, stay in tune with us. Flow Space everywhere. Flow Space Pod.
Yeah.
So yeah.
flowspacepod. All one word.
Yes.
POD.
Sending you love and light and darkness, because you need it all.
Bye.
Bye.